order. I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. A reminder, we are recording this meeting on two fronts tonight. We have a camera with no sound, and we have sound with no camera. So somebody will have best to hear this. Also, we have on here public access for the first 10 minutes if anybody wants to address the board. But I would caution you that once the public session is over, we're not going to be taking comments and questions from the floor. This will be tonight. But you have 10 minutes if you'd like to get up. If it's something that we're going to discuss and it's on the agenda, we can answer a question about that. If it's not on the agenda, if it's not listed here, you can ask your question, but we cannot respond unless we will be in violation of the open meeting law. So, having said all of that, if there's anybody that would like to address the board, we're welcome to do so. I see a hand up. Would you like to do so? All right, come on up. And just
stay here, or you want to?
Well, come up a little bit so we can hear you.
I'm a loud talker, so.
Yeah, that's okay. And you can just, if you don't mind, just your name and who you are.
Jennifer Justin, 78 Munson Road. And I'm here for the Cultural Council.
Okay.
I'm also a chair of the school committee, along with the ex officio chair, because I'm on break this year, for the Cultural Council. And I'd like to speak in regards to our members that we had. I believe it was Eric Jager last week. So I just last week, 2 weeks ago, there was an issue with Eric, so I just came to speak on his behalf. So I just have a quick statement, if it's all right for me to read.
It is indeed.
Okay, I'm honored to stand before you in full support of Eric, a passionate advocate for our schools and true cultural cornerstone for our community. Over the past 5 years, Eric has served dedication and vision of the school committee, always placing students and families first. But his commitment runs deeper. For more than a decade, he's volunteered at our schools, consistently stepping up for teachers, students, and the programs that help our children thrive. He coaches Little League for more than 7 years. With both a bachelor's and a master's degree in music, Eric brings a deep appreciation for arts and has been an unwavering supporter of music education. When our community, elementary and junior high music teachers need someone dependable to chaperone student performances or field trips, Eric is first person they call. They know he brings care and safety and a joyful spirit that embraces his every experience. Whether it's a committee room, rehearsal hall, or baseball field, Eric shows up, and that means to serve humble, consistently, and always with heart. I would also like to take a moment to speak to something often that gets overlooked in conversation about service and leadership. It's easy to focus on moments of disagreements or personal impressions outside of someone's official responsibilities. But public service is it's not about perfection. It's about presence, effort, and impact. Eric has consistently shown up for the committee's, the school committee, through his role, and he's been very reliable, thoughtful, and forward-thinking contributor, someone who brings knowledge, listens actively, and makes decisions that reflect best interests of our students and families. It's okay to have differences of opinions. It's okay if someone doesn't always match our expectations in informal settings. What matters most is how they serve, and Eric has served with integrity, focus, and heart. His track record speaks louder than any personal critique, and we owe it to our community to recognize commitment over charisma and impact over impression. The Brimfield Cultural Council would be fortunate to have someone like Eric, someone who brings experience, fresh energy, and a clear commitment to building a stronger community. And thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? You get 9 more minutes if you let me.
Oh, no.
Okay. Everybody else? You have something?
Is it all right if I sit down? I'm not really supposed to stay for too long.
Okay, would you then just announce who you are?
Julian Ferrer, 93 Apple Road. I just wanted to speak to the Sax Age Family Disability Commission and let you know that Board of Selectmen has not, to my knowledge, come to a single member from the past commission on where we stood, other than the last meeting. I know I've got myself here, who was chair. Chris Harry's here, he was also on the commission for some time. I just want to stress that point that that commission does a lot more than what a lot of people in town thought it did in terms of outreach and helping, especially our seniors, with several different things in town. If anybody needs clarification on it, the door's always open, phone's always on.
So this is something that's on the agenda,
Yes.
so we can speak to it. When was your last meeting?
Our last meeting was a virtual meeting, February 9th, 24. We have not met since due to the accessibility issues in town because that virtual meeting did not work well for 3/4 of our members not being tech savvy. So that was no longer a further option. I have tried to set more meetings and secure a location, but due to the accessibility issues, it has not worked out.
And you know you have requirements of how many times you're supposed to meet.
Yes, I do.
Those minutes, so.
Yes, and I acknowledged that 2 weeks ago at that meeting that we did not, as to date, meet that requirement.
I understand that you have at least a member who indicated that somehow the Board of Selectmen stopped you from meeting. Is that true or false?
Say that again?
I've heard that you have a member, I won't mention names because I wasn't there, so, and the suggestion was that somehow the board had prevented you from meeting. Is that true?
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I see no one else, so we're going to begin. Okay, under the appointments, we have the first one's Animal Barn Inspector, Guinevere.
So do you want to do the minutes first?
Oh, I'm so sorry, yeah, sure. I did. Sorry, snuck right by. First, we'll do the minutes. Okay, has everybody had a chance to review them?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Any questions, changes, comments, anything? No, okay. And I'd be happy to take a motion to accept those.
I'll make a motion to accept the June 30th, 2025 minutes.
Second.
Okay. If there is no discussion, all in favor?
Bar aye.
And do I?
Fraser, aye.
Kelly, aye. Thank you. Every now and then cough, because I keep forgetting the phone is sitting in front of me there. Sorry. Okay. Now going to the appointments. We have the Animal Barn Inspector request, Guinevere Rindo. What is it?
Riendo.
Do we have any motion on that particular appointment?
Is she here today?
They're not leaves. We have her letter. She looks
Yeah,
qualified.
no, the letter. Just didn't know if she was in the audience. I wasn't sure what she was.
Ask questions.
No, she's not here, so.
This is Tom, if I could have a,
Yep, by all means, Tom, go right ahead.
so I read her letter and I looked up what an animal barn inspector does. And when the vote comes, I'm personally going to be in favor of appointing this person to the animal barn inspector. After looking at what they do, I think she fits that role.
Yeah, yeah, she sure looked like she did. Okay. Do we have any kind of emotion on this?
I move that we accept Guinevere Riendo as our animal barn inspector.
Okay.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All right, see none. So that means all in favor?
Bar aye.
And do I?
Fraser,
So
aye.
would I.
Kelly, aye. Thank you. Next up, we have a resignation clear. Someone want to take a run at that? Me?
Severitis.
Okay, we'll go with that. That sounds right.
Severitis.
Okay, and she has sent a letter saying that she's going to be stepping down, so she'll no longer be on that committee. If you want to make a motion to accept the resignation, but I don't believe it requires.
Before we do, I just want to, I don't know this person, but I just want to publicly state thank you to Clea for the work done on our building committee. It was a lot of work to do this year.
Okay, thank you. All right, if that's it, then we'll move on. We don't want to make a motion on that, just accept the resignation. Okay. Next up, you have that cultural council. First one is for Eric Yeager. Do I have any kind of motion on that? Okay, hearing none, we move to the next. Cultural Council, Sarah Rando, extended to December 31st. So Chris was involved in this. Chris, they normally come up in what, in June? The expiration is usually June. She wants to go to December, so she's asking for an extension.
The state will allow to extend for
6 months.
essentially so that it's not an indefinite, and they said that through the end of the calendar year would be acceptable.
Okay. So she has requested the extension to the 31st of December of this year.
I'll make a motion that we extend her appointment for Sarah Rondo to December 31st.
I second that.
Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor?
Randall, I.
Fraser, aye.
Stewart, aye.
Kelly, aye. Thank you. Next, we have the treasurer collector clerk, Laura Foster, 1-year appointment. She's there now. She works there now. She's the assistant to Becky. They work for that. So we should just be giving her another 1 year. So, I guess what we need is, does the board want to make a motion on this? Does anyone want to make a motion on this?
I'll make a motion that we appoint Laura Foster for 1 year with treasurer collector clerk.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion at all on this? Okay, I don't see you hearing any, so, all right, all in favor?
Randall, I.
Fraser, aye.
Stewart, aye.
Kelly, aye, thank you. Next up, we have the Veterans Grave Officer, Jason Burton.
So he's also on the year, so
Okay. Did you all hear that?
Yeah, he has a letter in here.
All right,
I move that we accept Jason Berger as our Veterans Grave Officer.
I second that.
any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor?
Randall, I.
Fraser, aye.
Stewart, aye.
Kelly, aye, thank you. We have a change in a different appointment on the zoning board of appeals.
I don't know if they say anything to it.
Okay, all right. So if you have a copy of the agenda, you will note that Paul has resigned from that position. And in his place, we have a request for Jeffrey Fitzgerald for a 3-year appointment as the full member. And he has been on the board, land committees for about 5 years as an associate member, so he knows the board and knows the system. So, discussion or motions on this?
I move that we accept Jeffrey Fitzgerald for 1 year appointment.
3 year, Tom, 3 year.
Oh, sorry, correction.
Okay.
3 year appointment.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Randall, abstain.
Fraser, aye.
Stewart, aye.
Kelly, aye. Thank you. Okay, now to the new business. And the first item is last meeting, 2 weeks ago, we brought up the subject of the possibility of making the purchase of the Hitchcock House on the other side of the town hall. We've had a lot of people go through there and look at it, and lots of good feedback on it. I know that the building inspector is going to be going through soon, so we couldn't make the kind of semi-open house that we had. They would have to be a fair description open house kind of thing. So a lot of the folks that worked in the annex got an opportunity to walk through the building, take a look at it, see what they thought of it, see what they, And I hope that he would go through too, just so that, But we have had other inspectors go look at it, just to kind of get a sense, no official anything, but just to kind of hear what they thought of it. Um, So, I guess at this point, it should be understood, if this board votes that they want to move forward and see if the town wants to do this board does not make the decision as to whether or not to buy this building. That decision is made on the town floor. So all this board would do, if it so decides to, is schedule a special town meeting, let people come in, hear the arguments for and against, and then make their decision. And this purchase of property, I believe it has to be a 2/3 vote at the town meeting, so that's something to be cognizant of. So, having said all of that, other than we've all been through it, we've seen it, we know what everybody thinks of it, I would personally like to see the board at least put it in front of the town and see where we are. Significantly, less than the option. Thoughts by the board?
I like the idea because it gives us the town hall, it keeps the town offices in the center of town. Essentially, we'll lock that whole area up as historic. So it keeps the face of our town quaintness. It's New England. And that's everybody loves the common, they love that area. The church right across the road. There's plenty of space, the building's in excellent shape. So it's really not going to take much to fix it, as Marty indicated. It's going to be extremely more frugal than trying to build a 12 or 13 million. So my feeling is, yeah, we should go.
Yeah, one of the things, and I'm sure we're going to say this 1,000 times between now and it's a special town meeting, and then on the night of that meeting, we'll say it again. There are lots of reasons why this makes sense, not the reason which is the cost, proximity to the town hall and annex as they stand right now, satisfies, as Rich mentioned, the requirement that people want to see it in the middle of town and not on the periphery somewhere. It's close in proximity to the public water supply. It just had a new septic system done over there. There's enough land to the back of the field that if down the road, I'm not committing to anything, I'm just saying down the road, if the board decides that it's the best use of some of the land on the south end of the property is, which is right across from the parking for the housing of the elderly park, and they have, and they have been, for as long as I can remember, trying to get additional overflow parking over there. So this would be something that might help them. If it's, if we do it in such a way that if we have money to go start working on the town hall, that would be a priority. So hopefully, depending on how the numbers shake out in the end, this could give us an opportunity to deal with not just the question of office space for people who are in the town hall annex, but also and one thing to remember too is anybody who works in the annex will tell you that they don't love being there. It's the layout's not great. We've had different reports about we wish we had better air quality, airflow in the building, but it's an old building, so we can only do so much. We did put scrubbers on every floor. So these are things that when we look at this and try to decide, does this make the most sense? Right now, I don't see another option. To satisfy all of those things, that's the house of things. So that's my speech on that. Anyone else has something to say?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I thank Amy for taking us through there. I mean, the house is absolutely it's gorgeous. I'm not saying I'm on board or I'm off board. I just don't want people coming up here right now. They just think that we have one old building and another old building. We get ourselves in trouble with another old building. I'm just saying what people are telling me. It's not. I'm just portraying what they're asking me to bring forward. So I want to make sure it's just again, I'm 50-50 right now.
And to that, I can't say that that ultimately we'll end up doing this because we'd have to work through the real term and so forth. But I personally would hate to see an opportunity. If this board says, "Yeah, we're going to do this," and we schedule a date for a town meeting to make the decision on this, maybe we'll be able to do something like that. Other people may have questions about, is this a good buy or not? And maybe, let them take a look at the property. I'm not asking the committee, I mean, just,
I think
so
we need,
just my thought on it.
I think we need to bring numbers to the townspeople too. I mean, because that's the next question. So what do you think? Somebody said 2 million, and I personally agree with 2 million. Not a parking lot, not an elevator, not ADA compliant. I mean, you're talking prevailing wage job because it's a town job. So you double the cost. So if it was 2 million, it's 4. If it was 4, it's 8, unfortunately, because all the contractors get paid a lot more money for a sheet metal. I know it's almost $200 an hour. So I mean, the job cost. If I'm bidding a prevailing wage job, I could literally do that job for 20 grand, but I got to be 40 just because of all the extra cost. So we need to bring this to the townspeople. They're the deciding factor, right? I mean, they really are. So that's.
So what I'd like to see us do is,
Marty,
Go ahead,
when we get a chance, I might have some input.
yeah, by all means, go ahead.
So we are a town that just voted down a big project, which would have given us everything needed in the town hall, and with the options of even adding on to the back end for future needs such as a potential senior center. So bottom line up front is, we're a town that just voted down anything to do with, adding taxes. So therefore, we've become a town that needs to come up with options that do not cause an increase in taxes. And these are the kinds of options that you see. And our current situation is we have town employees that work at the annex, and there's so many problems with that building, from air quality to floors that you can't put a file cabinet on one end of the floor, you gotta put it over a specific area that has a beam. I mean, that's no way to work. So we have an immediate need to get those folks out of there and get them into a different property. We have people that have walked through the Hitchcock property that have taken a look at, and while everyone agrees this property has been taken care of way better than that annex. So for the same reasons that we move town employees into the annex, would be the same reason why we move them into the Hitchcock. It's a definite upgrade. The Hitchcock, I think, is a good temporary space, if not down the line even permanent for certain needs of the town, while we rebuild our own the real town hall with whatever we can afford year by year. So again, we're a town that voted to not increase our tax base, to not have a huge building project. These are the kind of options that we now face. When we talk to people around town and they talk to us, my first question is, do they know everything about that building? Have they done the walkthrough? Do they have options that they can share with us? I just need to have people that maybe there's a lack of context. Maybe we're all operating on different context for all the different opinions that are out there. The context means something. And it would be, for once, we just need to get ourselves together as a community to solve this town hall problem that we face. The Hitchcock is definitely a far bigger upgrade than the annex, and we do have an immediate need to pull the town workers out of that annex. I'd like to know, and I'll have to ask around, but I would like to know what the feedback was when they did the walkthrough of the Hitchcock. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Anyone else? Crystal? Okay. All right, having said all of that, I think we should, at least give the town the opportunity to make a decision on this. So I would be happy if somebody were to make a motion to say that we're going to have a special town meeting, and I think we've targeted. We're supposed to give like 45 days for this, but 45 days would pretty much put it in the middle of the September antique show, which is not going to work for anybody. So I think the last time we talked about this, we said we're looking probably more realistically at the end of September. So
Would that give us enough time to decide what we're doing with the other properties as well? Because I think that's going to be a big concern.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Would that give us enough time to get a meeting of the minds, and decide what we're doing with the other properties as well?
Um,
For which I know the main focus is
Yeah.
we have to focus on the Hitchcock.
But I think broader, we have to also, be ready to answer questions to make this pitch.
Yeah, honestly, I think we would have enough time to do it only because I don't think, we talk and say, okay, well, if we can do it for this much money, we may have this left over to do it. I mean, what we do or don't do to these other buildings depends on where we are in terms of money. You know what I mean? Because we're basically going in and saying, we want to do this, and you're not really going to have to raise your taxes to do it. And, there are a lot of things to talk about with that. Like in other words, if we say only the first floor is going to be accessible to the public because, those are really the folks that do the lion's share of it, how much we need to do in terms of handicapped access. We wouldn't necessarily have to come out of the gate putting in an elevator or doing handicap on the second floor and we don't want to lose sight of the fact that it's a historical building, so it's incumbent upon us to protect the historical value of that. So if we don't have to use the second floor for something, why go make all those changes, you know what I'm saying? And it might be 10 years down the road before we start using the second floor. Because if we can do what we would like to, and again, who knows how it's going to shake out in the end, but let's say we start doing things like replacing the windows in the town hall. That's really what has the town hall closed. It's not falling down. The windows were falling out of it. So if the windows are replaced, we can open that and even create some office space in there. So, we have ways to kind of protect both sides of that. So
I guess what I'm saying is the more information that we
Oh,
can gather before that, in that special town meeting.
absolutely correct. I couldn't agree more. Okay, having said all of that, would someone like to make a motion on saying that we'll put it before the town?
I make a motion that we set a special town meeting date to have a vote and discuss purchasing the Hitchcock property.
I'm not checking messages. I'm looking to see where the calendar is. I'm sorry, Tom, you seconded that?
I second that.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, all in favor?
In the line.
Raise your eye.
So would I.
Kelly, aye. Now we should probably pick a date. We could probably do this the 23rd or the 30th of September, both are Tuesdays. I mean, that gives us enough time with this. I guess, well, we don't know. Why don't we do this? Let's say the 30th, because that'll give us an extra week, so if we find ourselves in position to still try to get numbers together, we'll buy ourselves in a few days.
I think that's the best choice.
Tom, what do you think?
That's something that
All right, why don't you make a motion?
Marty,
Yeah.
one quick thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear Crystal. She may have already addressed it.
What?
But can you guys explain why we need to pick this meeting date tonight? Why it's imperative that we apply these things in time sense?
Well, yeah, we kind of talked about the last time, but you're absolutely right, Tom. That's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. The reason we're trying to do this so quickly is in fairness to the sellers of the property. Okay, we don't want to wait 6 or 8 months to make this decision and expect that they're going to hold on forever until we make a decision. Okay, so this is being done to get it as quickly in front of the town and get a decision as quickly as possible, so we can at least tell the sellers, we're in, we're out, whatever it's going to end up being in the end. So, thank you, Tom. That's a great point. So.
I make a motion that we set the special town meeting for September 30th.
Yeah.
You want to set 6 p.m.
Yeah.
or late? You want to go a little later,
I'll
7?
go a little later this
All right, why don't we say 7 o'clock?
Okay. And we're going to do it in the cafeteria here at the school. So why don't you put all of that into your
I'll restate my motion. I make a motion that we have our special town meeting September 30th at 7 p.m. in the school cafeteria.
Second that.
Right, all in favor?
In the line.
Raise your eye.
Would I?
Kelly, aye. Thank you very much. Yep. Oh, yes. Okay. And to that end, the town council wants to deal with our realtor in terms of getting all of this stuff put together. And I'm gonna give you 1 second, I'll give you a shot at this, saying something, only because you're part of this deal. And so we want to make sure that she can talk directly to him. We're not constantly going through and interpreting what we think one another said. You know, it's cleaner just to have them talk directly to one another. And
I did call a town council, I mean, not town council, but MAR, the Massachusetts Association of Realtors Council today to discuss if I could, for an ethics violation, if I could do that, because I'm a poll worker. And so she did say that I could. I can't vote at the town meeting.
What?
I
you
can't vote.
cannot vote at the town meeting.
No, but that I could do it, that it's basically, if you choose not to have a buyer's agent and go that route, because you had said the council wanted to directly with me, then basically he's gonna be dealing mostly, I mean, I'm gonna be facilitating the running of it, but mostly with the seller's attorney, anyway. So he's gonna, your attorney will be writing the offer and put, you know, the things that in the letter of intent and all that, what he needs to do, basically with the seller's attorney, and I would be just facilitating that. But you would basically be called what's I would be a dual agent, I would be a seller's agent, and go from there.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
And you would, so one more thing, you'd be an undisclosed buyer. It's just something that the attorney would have to say.
All right.
An unrepresented buyer.
So, we're going to make a motion to give her authorization to go directly to the town council to deal with this.
So it has to be Amy.
There's, so she's the
I'm the listing
seller's
agent.
realtor.
I make a motion that Amy Garish is able to contact town council directly in reference to the sale or purchase of the Hitchcock property.
Okay, need a second on that?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Jeff, aye.
Raise your right.
Stewart, aye.
Oh, aye. Thank you very much. Okay, next up, permit pro public records retention. We talked about this the last time. Permit Pro is the online licensing system that a lot of, all of these departments should use at this point. We came up with an interesting piece of information a month or two ago, and that is that there was some question about the records kept in that system and whether or not it would compromise our ability to manage our public records. And it would seem at this point that it may. I know that's not much of an answer, but we talked to another town who has been using this, and they do big projects and they do all kinds of stuff in it. But they said if you were to, get out of it and say, well, we're not going to use this next year, anything that you haven't printed and made hard copies of and put in storage files somewhere would most likely be lost to that. So, having said that, Chris was kind enough to go online, and he's been talking about another system that we're not really ready to be throwing out there and giving all the particulars because we don't have them yet. But the one thing, I happened to be on that call, and the one thing that we were able to get was that whatever we store for documentation, like permits that we bought, things of that sort, into the new system, if it is our system, you would actually be able to get those right off there. I guess cloud-like operation. I don't know whether it's actually a cloud or not, but So, my personal feeling at this point is this seems like we're racing down the road of duplicating everything we do here, and that is to do it in there and then have to turn around and get hard copies and put them in a file cabinet anywhere. So I would like to say at this point, if the board is on board with this, any committees, offices, whatever, that are using the permit pro and they're happy and they're okay and they figured that getting hard copies is not going to be an issue, that they can stay and do that because we have paid for it. It's here. It is our system. But for departments that have been complaining about this because it is, again, duplicating everything we do here, I would like to give leave to anybody who says this isn't working for us. to at least get out, do it, you know, the way they've been doing it until we make a decision on a new system. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Tom?
I think it makes sense.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think I would really like to hear from Private Code the answer about records retention, though. I mean, is that where you're getting your information that it may?
Yeah, I'm trying to be less obvious about it. Pretty much we were told that it would have to be done that way.
Well, then I feel like Private Code holds us hostage to their
Yeah.
platform.
Yeah.
That's no good
Yeah.
business.
So this is not, right now, we're not saying we're gonna get rid of it and go to something else. Right now, we're saying is that question is significant enough that we should allow boards and committees who feel that that's a problem for them, give them the option to use it or not use it, as long as they make it crystal clear online and everywhere else what people will need to do to deal with that particular office.
So what you're saying is boards and committees are not required, as I previously,
Right.
okay.
Right, so building committee's the best one, okay, because we've talked in front of the board 10 times about this, okay? And, you know, you made very passionate arguments against it, and I was not as sympathetic when it was just, I don't want to have to do this. Much more so now when we realize it could compromise our public records. So I ended with that. So if anybody wants to just make a motion that we will notify all departments, if you're comfortable, keep going. If you're not, you can do what you want until we figure out the next step for us.
Can I just make a motion that Government Road is not required?
Yeah.
By use of boards and committees. Gives them discretion at this point.
Yep, so,
I'll second that.
all right. If there are no other questions or comments, Tom, you all set?
I'm good.
Okay. All right, in that case, all in favor?
Porter, aye.
And a lot.
Raise your eye.
Let's do it. I
Ellie, aye. Thank you all very much for that. Okay, next we have end of year transfers. We have a guest speaker, Marie, our town accountant, to address this. And don't let me have you walk out here before we talk about it. So, I don't have to put it back. Go ahead.
Good evening. Yearly, I present the year-end transfers. They require the approval of the select board and the finance committee. I hope you've already seen copies or have, gotten a chance to look at the year-end transfers. Actually, their deficits. So on the right-hand side, you'll see that those are the deficits, and the left-hand, the right-hand column is the deficits. The left-hand column provides the funds for the deficits. And I'd like to make note that this deficit spending is in the last 2 months of the fiscal year and the first 15 days of the next fiscal year. So the first 15 days of fiscal year 2026. And then in the middle of the column is our snow and ice deficit. We have snow and ice in 2 line items. And actually, the wages are in the deficit and the winter expenses are not in the deficit. And this is raised on the tax recap, and I net the two against each other, and the deficit would then be raised on page 2 of the tax recap. Does anyone have any questions on any of the deficits?
Yeah, what on town council, $11,195. What is that for?
Yes, this year we had unusual things that they did work on the new building, revolving accounts for the town annual town meeting. They worked on debt exclusion. They also were present when you had to do revotes, recounts. So those are some of the things that would contribute to the deficit.
Lawsuits against the town?
Yes.
Lawsuits as well?
We don't have those on the agenda for us.
Well,
So we can't really litigate it or
yeah.
talk about it, but I would just say that would be for later meeting, we'll address it. Right. No other questions? Okay. I need to.
I need your
Yeah,
approval.
we need to have an approval, so we need a motion and a vote on approving this. Let's do it.
I'll make the motion that we do the year-end transfers. Do you want the sum there?
Yeah. Just say as presented by the.
As presented by.
Okay. We get a second on that?
I second that.
If there is no discussion or questions, I'm not here to see any. So, all right, all in favor?
Randall, I.
Raise your eye.
Stewart, aye.
Kelly, aye. Thank you very much. Now, I'll go again. I'm bumping a different one up a little bit. The windmill property cost, a structural engineering report for pedestrian bridge. Now, the worst thing that could happen to him was that the chair of the finance committee is here, and I saw him walk in, so I'm going to ask him to come up. Would you mind coming up for just a minute, please? Let me see right away. So, essentially what's happening is, the town voted to accept the windmill, which means that we have to do repair and maintenance of that. And the bigger part of that, at this point, is just simply making sure that the bridge that is there is structurally sound. I did ask a couple of people to just give me an opinion on what they thought. Unofficial, nothing, just, what do you think? So I did suggest to the historical folks that the best way to do that would be to get a structural engineer to make sure that we're not going to do, take this and get started and find that it's a $100,000 bill down the road or something. Okay. So the number, I believe, so I'll let you address that.
Sam was able to get a quote of $3,500 from Johnson Engineering. That was her most reasonable quote.
Okay. So if we look at this and say, all right, this is going to be $3,500 to do that, where would we be getting this money from? How would we pay for that?
Well, wasn't some money voted also for to do a survey of the project? But I assume
Yeah.
that money's already come.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much that is. Do you know how much that money is?
It's $2,500.
$2,500?
$2,200.
$2,200. Okay. So, without spending every nickel of it, because you never know, there's always something. Right? So, what would be the best approach to getting that funded? I guess I'm asking our two financial folks.
Well, you do have the option of reserve fund, it would be extra, unforeseen. You also do have your North Box, Davis River grants, so you could probably possibly look into those two things to see if.
I know that financially, and we are certainly sensitive to that, financially we're very, very tight, very thin. Okay, so we want to be careful how we do this and make sure we do it in the best possible way for the town and the historical folks.
Well, I mean, one thing I always say is that the one-time expenses aren't what's hurting us. It's the things that come back year after year. So one-time expense of $3,500 isn't good for us. But I mean, I guess I would say, the FinCom's not here, but I would just say it's kind of not really unforeseen because maybe we should have seen that back in March or so. But it's also not that much money, so I don't.
So, and I just want to remind people who may not know this, okay? Although Joe is the chair of the finance committee, he didn't know he was going to be called out, I don't think.
No.
He didn't suspect this, he'd still be home, right? And he doesn't speak for the board. The only way you could get a definitive, this is what's going to happen, is if the board votes for that, accepts it, says, okay, here's $3,500, this is where we're getting it from, and this is what it's for. So,
Can you tell us what is supposed to be the other accounts?
One has possibly 19,000, around 19,000. Don't have the most recent numbers.
ballpark,
19 and 22,000.
in total, or 19 plus 20.
Plus, yes.
So, okay. So 40.
So, if I may,
Yes.
Roseanne's recommendation to save the town money would be to, or if you're actually going to and should spend money on sending this acquisition to town council to file the deed, right, and make it official. And once it becomes officially a municipally owned property, since it's in the historic district, it is 100% eligible for grants for a property that's owned by a municipality. So structural issues haven't come up. I think Roseanne took Pat Leeming for a walk, and he said he felt that it was good. I can't speak, this is on a third party in that. But when Zach took a walk, we noticed that the handrails needed to be redone with their splinters, but
Yeah, and I asked,
might recommend that if you all felt like that is a direction that you want our board to go, we'd be happy to look into a grant for that. But because I'm sure money still needs to be spent on filing the deed and using town council for that.
So you're recommending doing the engineering, hiring the engineer after we purchase the property?
If this is something that came to historical commission after the town vote, that the board was interested in knowing the structural integrity of the bridge. So it wasn't on anyone's radar. It never came out as being an issue, either from the diocese or from any of the various walkthroughs that were done. But it's a good idea. I think it's being proactive. It's something that we could definitely look into if you wanted to save money and do a grant.
yes.
I think we need to get it before the purchase. That's how I feel. So I think we're going to take the money from the Thames River. Let's get this done before we purchase the project.
Well, let me just say this, we're not actually purchasing this. This
Right.
is-
No,
this
I
thing-
understand.
And I'm not trying to say that to correct you, I just want to make sure people understand that this is something that we said we would accept. Okay? So having done that, even before we went and did the rest of it, I think it's well worth the $3,500 to just have peace of mind to know that there's not going to be some problem that would get us on the other end of this. So I think that's a reasonable path to take it.
So I was going to ask,
Yeah.
this is like almost, it's us managing risk
Mm-hmm.
by doing this. It's helping us to minimize liability of the bridge. We get the official structural inspection report,
Mm-hmm.
that we know anything that needed to be fixed, like Crystal said, have that done before we take possession of the bridge. So that way it's kind of smart doing business that way. Actually, the more I think about it, at first I wasn't for this, but the more I'm listening and thinking about it, $3,500 is a pretty good. You may not think it when you look at that, but it's us managing risk. If there was something to be wrong with that bridge, we have the official inspection report that we can tell us or clear it for use.
Yep, I agree.
Am I tracking that right?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. And just as an FYI, I also had asked, and he was kind enough to go, Bill Cantel through, and just to get his take on it too. And I said to him that I knew Pat had gone there to look at it. And I said, I didn't want them going together. I wanted to get two independent opinions on this to see if they both said the same thing, and they did. 99%.
We just wanted to make sure it was clear that historical wasn't withholding anything
No,
from
no,
the
not at
town,
all.
and that,
No, nobody, I
Okay.
certainly didn't.
just so we know,
Yeah.
this is an afterthought. Okay.
So,
I mean, as I think about it too, so the Thames River grant might be a better option just because you guys can
Yeah.
you get it done quickly.
but yeah, so that's one of those things where, consider all your options. So to see what the options on this side were, and those two grants is certainly an option, and that's not a ton of the bill, you know what I mean?
And would they give us if it was ADA compliant as well? And so it doesn't have to be so wide.
I'm just going on,
Have you been to
The bridge?
Yeah. I never stepped foot on it until I went with,
It's been a while.
no, I went with Brimfield.
Where is Johnson Engineering out of?
I don't. I bet Roseanne has all that information. I'm going on the letter she sent to you all. I'm sure she'd be happy to get you that information.
You should get experience. But I would make a motion to take the money from the Thames River account.
Do you want to increase that by maybe $500 just in case there's overrun?
Yeah, if we don't use it.
If we don't use it, it goes back.
How do we feel about that?
I'm okay with that, but I think if it goes over $3,500, if we just come back and tell us that. Right. If the verbal,
Yes, that is
Right,
completely
yeah.
reasonable, yes.
so I'll go increase that to $4,000.
With the understanding that if it's going to exceed 3,500, we at least get the heads up on it, so we know before we spend it. Okay, so we have that motion now.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion on it?
Did you have any discussion?
Well, I just wanted to add, because that's in the wetlands, whoever does the work is have to apply for a notice of intent. And I just wanted to make sure Johnson was aware of that, because then you have to pay bills, whatever.
Yeah, I can't speak to Johnson, but I know both Bill and Pat said the exact same thing, so everybody's on the same page. We are aware of it. Thank you. Okay, so,
I
if
second
we're
it.
ready, all right, we have the motion in the second. All in favor?
All right.
And the line,
Raise your eye.
Stewart, aye.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Okay, jumping back to the other end, Emery. That's it. That was, Joe, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, next up we have Highway Superintendent Zach New, request to donate $81 of unused fiscal 25 sick time to the town of Brimfield employee sick bank. So somebody, because of this discussion, is giving dollars over to the bank, so. Anybody want to make a motion or has a question about it?
I'll make a motion that we accept the hours that Zach has presented. We donate back to unused sick time to the town of Brimfield employees sick bank.
I second that.
If there is no discussion, I see it being done. All in favor?
All right.
and the line.
Raise your eye.
Stewart, aye.
Kelly, aye. Thank you for that. Okay, next up, we have the status of the Age-Friendly and Disability Committee. If you recall at the last meeting, just very lightly touched on it, that's public access part of this meeting. We haven't had an email since February 24th. And it actually, the rules do say if they've been inactive for a year, we are required to. This means not fresh. And this is, to be sure, this is not the only board which we have the same situation. So as we go through, we may be doing this again, so.
So if we disband it, they all have to come back to us.
They will have to come
Write
back.
us the letter saying they
and-
want to be on this board. And how many members were on the board?
Five.
Five.
Five members.
And all five are still willing to go.
As of right now, there's only two of us that are willing to come back, but I have had a couple of people in the past week or two reach out, say they were interested in it, they were just waiting to see what happens.
And is there a minimum for that board? 3, 5?
I think it says five. But yes,
Bylaw for the commission is not it.
okay. So why don't we take care of that first bit of business, and then we'll post it, and anyone who's interested in reapplying can do so. Or anybody who's never done it can do so also, right?
All right, I'll make a motion that we dissolve the current age and status friendly disability committee. And we will take applications and review and appoint for Labor Day.
I would also say that we, if we do, the new committee is appointed, I think we need to help them to be able to accommodate their meetings. I don't know, I
take place. So I think we need to do a better job at making that accessible.
Okay,
Can comment as one of the two members of the board?
very briefly, go ahead.
I just want to say that,
You did it for yourself.
well, Chris Harry, he's so good.
Yeah.
I didn't believe you just talked about the window would be a good point where the ADA and the Disability Commission would point in contact, because as soon as you make an alteration to that, it's going to have to be compliant. So that would be something to
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
If you alter the window because it's a municipal property, if you alter the property in any way, you have to make it ADA compliant. That's a big expense over the $3,500. Just for future reference, that's what we would do. I would like to say we would do a great job moving forward if we were given some tasks and better guidance as to what to do for the town versus being told no a couple of times on some things. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you. All right. Do we have to make a motion?
I make a
We did. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
All right.
And the lie.
Raise your eye.
Billy, aye. Thank you. Now, Tom, you get your opportunity to shine. You get to make the happy announcement of the new group that you want to work with for a very special project. So why don't you go ahead and speak to it?
All right, thanks. Appreciate it. So within the past 3 weeks or so, we've been able to create the beginnings of a committee that will help create the plan for Brimfield to celebrate the 250th anniversary of our nation's freedom. So as you could do the math, 1776 to 2026, 250th year. I've looked up what the state is doing overall, and there are a plethora of events going on throughout the course of the year in all different communities across the state. And Massachusetts has a grant called Massachusetts 250, and it looks to me like a lot of towns are getting between $20,000 and $40,000 to help finance their activities. The important piece to that is we may have missed the timing. It seems as though they had a first round of grants that closed. There was a second round of grants, but I am going to bring this to the committee that we established to talk about the grants, and what we're looking at is to align better for grants, we need to celebrate something pretty specific. And one thing that I'm going to talk to the committee about, which we it's another week we can have, is Henry Knox, who traveled by foot with his team up to Ticonderoga, New York, and they brought 59 captured artillery pieces all the way back to Boston. And that trip took place. They left Ticonderoga in December, and they got back to Boston, Dorchester Heights, by March. And if you know, March 17th evacuation day in Boston is when the British left Boston. And they left because Henry Knox and his cannons were all on the hillsides of Dorchester Heights. Well, that group, the Henry Knox took, we crossed Route 20, and it went through Palmer, and then it kind of goes up north of it into Warren and Brookfield. But it's still something that our area, we have people that fought the revolution, that they have been part of that. That's something that we're going to be asking our committee to look at. The committee members are from the historical committee, and I have an invitation out to the cultural committee. So please check your email. I talked to Kate Corvo about factoring in Old Home Day for next year, potentially to coincide with this event. And we really want to put on something big for the town. We're looking at July 4th being the date, but we need to consider some things like resources. That's going to be a big day for big cities, for the entire state. I'm working with Fort Drum, New York. I have connections up there that may end up getting us an Apache flyover along with a Chinook and a Blackhawk helicopter that would land at the LZs along, or the LZ 20 in one of the fields for like a static display during our event. There is a question that we have to bring to our committee, and that is inviting partner towns. So if we reach out to towns that may be short on resources that could benefit from this, and also, we can't put something together in this magnitude and have 30 people there. So we would really like to maximize those that participate as well. So, to the rest of the board, if you have any questions, I'd love to address. And we look forward to really want to make this a big event for our town.
Great. Well, I'm very happy that you're doing that. It should be noted, this is not a town committee. We didn't advertise positions. Just trying to get like-minded people who would like to do something for the town. And so that's how this came to be. So
Yeah,
before I get yelled at for not posting jobs, it wasn't that. So.
Right, and I can, Marty, if anyone's interested from the town to be on this committee and help us out, there's plenty of work for everybody, so I'm welcome.
Great. Okay, Tom, thank you very much for that information. Great information. Love what you're thinking.
I think it's a great idea. I think that it would be super, our 250th, have a big gala, invite Wales, Holland, all the towns that want to join us. And we can just have a big celebration.
There you go.
Be a lot of fun.
Okay, there's nothing to be voted here. That was just, we wanted you to hear all of that. Okay, so next on the agenda, we have the 2025 common victual license for Deep Roots Distillery, USA. And that is, Deep Roots is,
Are we going to go to this property?
Oh, yeah, so we are leasing the old Athens property. So we're going to be opening a restaurant there.
okay. This is a common victuals license
Yes.
only.
Yep.
This is not a liquor
So,
license.
Correct.
but you are planning to do distilling there or whatever?
We are not going to do any production, but we would like to serve what we make in the restaurant.
Down the road.
Yep.
Get the license.
And that's something we'll talk to you about.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so this is just for the common victuals license. So if somebody would like to make a motion to approve that, all the paperwork is in order.
I'll make a motion that we grant the common victualer's license for Deep Roots Distillery, USA.
I'll second that.
If there's no questions or comments, which I don't see any, all in favor?
Or,
And the line?
Fraser, aye.
Stewart, aye.
Kelly, aye. Thank you. Next up is special one-day license for home fruit wine made in New England Motel, October 4th, 2025. So this is an event license for
Yeah, one day. I make a motion that we grant the special one-day license for home fruit wine made in New England Hotel, October 4th, 2025.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
And the line?
Fraser, aye.
Stewart, aye.
Kelly, aye. Thank you. Okay. Excuse me, you do have one other item. Sorry. We have an open meeting law violation complaint against the board. And it is listed on here for informational only that we have it. The acknowledgement is that we do have it. I'm going to ask that this board table this for the time being because I understand that there may be additional information. So before we start making decisions, before we have everything, let's table this until we have everything in then go from there. Okay. And I think, why would you make a motion to table?
I'll make a motion that we table the open meeting law complaint, review it at a different time.
Hopefully by
I
the,
second that.
okay, thank you, hopefully by the next meeting, I guess, it's not something that's okay, all in favor of tabling this for the time being?
or abstain?
And the abstain?
Fraser, aye.
Stewart, aye.
Kelly, aye. Okay, that has been tabled. All right, so at this point,
That's it.
okay, so if somebody would like to make a motion, we can adjourn this.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?
Or aye?
And the line?
Fraser, aye.
Stupid eye.
Oh, yeah, thank you, we are adjourned, thank you all for coming.